Hello everyone, welcome to my sketchbook review video. Today I'm going to review this sketchbook I've just bought. It's a Strathmore sketch paper and they do various different kind of sketchbooks, and I really like Strathmore because their paper quality is very nice whether you go for different series. So see, they do the sketchbooks in series like 300, 400, 500. So the 500 is their premium one, 300 is like more budget friendly, and the 400 is like in the middle. So they produce papers for each category like a sketch, drawing, mixed media, watercolor, and Bristol. I bought this sketchbook to test out this sketching paper, and let's see how it's work and how it looks like. So I've already drawn some drawings in it to try my favorite medium, pencil, graphite pencil, and I'm going to test out few more mediums in this on this paper. I'm going to test out graphite in this video, and this China marker, it's like a wax based pencil. It's also similar like a color pencil, so I'm going to try these as well. And fine liner, brush pen, it's a ink brush pen, and also ballpoint. And I will also try to do some watercolor test, although it's very thin paper, it's not much thicker. As you can see, it's 89 grams. It's very thin. So it's for dry medium, it says, but I usually go for watercolors like very light washes, not too much like layers of wash. Usually one layer would be fine for this kind of paper. Let's try and let's see how it will work. And the paper is very smooth. There is a little bit of tooth, like very finer one. So the feel of the paper, it's very nice. Usually when I buy the paper, I always try to feel the surface because it will tell you the caveats of the paper. Because the more grainy the paper is, the more velvety the paper is, it will hold the medium very well, like for pastels or for your charcoal, for your graphite. It's very nice to have a little bit of smoothness in the paper and as well as a little bit rough edges. So it's very nicely in the middle, what I like. Not too much smooth, not too much rough. It's very nicely in the middle area. So first I'm going to try some graphite pencil. So as usual, I always start with the shapes, bigger shapes. I'm not sure what I'm going to draw. Trying to create interesting shape design and playing with the symmetry. It was not planned, but since I'm moving my pencil, I like that kind of shapes that is going on, and trying to enhance them. So it's really nice to use the side of your pencil to create those kind of shape. And the paper feels so much smooth that it's not holding the graphite very well. Means if you're going to move your hand over the paper, it's easy to smudge those graphites. But if you're going to nail it, see, like put it a very sharp line there, the graphite will hold inside the paper. As I've showed you that I've already used graphite, so I know how this paper is behaving. But the good thing about, I love one thing about this paper with regards to graphite is it creates very dark lines, as you can see. Let me zoom in. See, as compared to those light lines, This is very dark, and it's like without any much effort you can go very light to very dark. And this is the good quality. In my experience, I like to go dark and light, so you have a good range of gradations. Nowadays I like to build texture meanwhile shading, so this is very nice for that kind of purpose. It's very nice to play with the contrast. See, I'm making this area darker as compared to the area where it's growing to make an interesting balance. It's becoming some kind of creature. So I like what's happening here. In my experience, the good paper is the one where you're not fighting with the paper and the material that you're sketching with. In our case, this is our pencil. So if you're not fighting with that, like how to control your shading, it's a good paper. As compared to, let me show you, for example, this paper. It's rough, it's thicker, but it's very grainy. So if I'm going to sketch on that, I can't. It holds the graphite very well, but the lines are not as crisp, as sharp as I want. So in this way, like in this sense, I'm really fighting with the paper. Like whenever I need a very sharp edge, see the line is very like how to say, it's very blurry. As compared to here, I can create very sharp lines as well as sharp shapes. So this is a good paper for ink. I also do watercolors on that as well, but for the sketching I really like that. So let's move to the next medium. Let's try some color pencil and see if it's how it's behaving on that paper, because there are different kind of color pencils: wax base, oil base. Watercolor pencils are mostly like pigmented pencils with the gum arabic. So you have to know your material, because every material behave differently. Sometimes people complain about the papers, but usually it's not the paper's fault. It's it's your decision. Like, oh, every paper is not for everything. So when you're going to choose the paper, you have to be very careful what medium you're going to use on that paper. Although I'm going to use watercolor on the paper, but I know the watercolors are not going to work very well on this paper. For the obvious reasons, this paper is very thin, so it's not going to hold the watercolors very well. I like the wax-based pencils. These color pencils are working very nice. I like it. And it's taking very well. Like, see, usually these pencils are very lighter on the paper. When you sketch on like a normal paper, they are very light. But here, with a little bit of pressure, I can create a very dark to light effect. I like it. So far, it's very good for graphite and color pencils. Let me try some color mixing. Let's see if I mix with red. Yeah. Layering up with the color pencils is not good because paper it has a very limited capacity, means the tooth are not in depth, or um, it's a thin paper, so it's not going to layer up very well as compared to, let's say, the cotton paper, or more like watercolor paper or hot press paper. Those papers are really nice for layering up with the color pencils, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I like it. See those grainy texture? Let me just show you. Yeah, those graininess. It's due to the limitation of the grains. Like, it's not going very depth. Like, there is a limit for the grains of color pencils holding into the paper. Let's see if I'm going to use orange color. I like it. Okay, so let's try to use next medium, which is like our favorite fine liner. So for that, I'm going to sketch here. Let's see if the camera is focused here. Okay. Oh. The paper is very white, so in this way, the dogs are looking very nice, and it's not so much bleeding through. Wow. But since the paper is very thin, so you can see there is an impression of those drawings coming up. Let me try a little bit finer tip. This is 1 and this is 2. Okay, yeah, that's good. So what I've learned throughout my experience sketching with fine liners, go for the wider one if you want to do a crisp line art. So let's say if you want to create a line art for later on you need to color. So it's not like you're sketching with it. So I create this character. It's a very, not very, but as compared to this, it's very clean line art kind of a sketch, and later on I can do watercolor over it. But when I want to sketch with fine liners, I usually go with a very finer pen, because in this way I can create the line. See, this is very fine line, but and then I can make it darker going over it. So if you go multiple time over the same line, it will make, you can make it very thicker. And covering the whole black area with the finer tip is very nice because it creates this kind of effect, texture effect. So it gives you the feel of details, texture, and some this kind of a detail which makes the drawing more render. The one thing you need to careful when you're using very fine tip is to do not put more pressure. But if you're going to put more pressure on the tip, it's going to bend and you're going to ruin your fine liner. Okay, so let's try some brush pen, see how it behaves. This is Pentel brush pen, very famous. This is the cartridge, ink cartridge, and this is the ink reservoir, and this is the brush. So when you push the ink from the cartridge to the reservoir, so see, it will come here, and then you can use the more juicy ink. And if you want to dry effect, you can just wipe the ink from the brush tip, and then if you're going to use, then it's going to create a very nice dry brush effect. Okay, let's see what I want to draw. Inks are looking very nice on that paper because the paper is very nicely wide. It's not too much wide, but it's like it's as compared to this watercolor paper on top, it's creamy white. This is like more neutral grayish white kind of paper, more like a office paper, printer paper kind of feeling. And on those office paper and printer paper, the inks are very nice. Ink behaves very well. If you want to practice your ink sketching, I highly recommend you to buy 60 or sometimes 120 gram of paper. They are very cheap. You can buy the whole rim of 400 and try to sketch on those with inks, because on the white, the more white paper you have, you will have a more contrasty lines. But if you want to play with the white and black, you can go with like a craft paper. So later on you can add white lines. I love sketching with this brush pen. As you can see, I'm really enjoying. I'm not talking about this, what I'm doing, because it's very therapeutic. Like, not what I'm drawing is therapeutic, but the making the black patches and trying to carving out the shapes by using just those strokes, it's very calming, and you can feel the joy of using brush pen. And don't have to be precise. People, but when you started learning with drawing with brush pen, you don't have to be very, sorry, my camera was way off, so sorry. So you don't have to be very precise about each line. Keep it very impressionistic approach to add those darker shapes. It's like a cutout artwork that you're creating. A lot of manga artists use this method. Inkers use this method. They block out the shadows and then create the texture. See, you have this gradient of a stroke. So what they do, like they create those hatching point to create the fade out shape of shading. That this form is bending from this area to this area. So it's like a light fall off. So I like this for this paper for graphite and inking so far. And let's try the next medium, which is watercolor. Let me sketch out a character quickly. Okay, so I'm using Pentel water brush pen, and it's very handy because it contains water like the other pen contains ink in this holder. And then same as the ink reservoir, you have water reservoir. You can push the barrel and the water will come to the brush, and this way you can control the amount of water that you need for the coloring or for the watercolors. I don't know how and what they are making, like how they are creating those papers. Strathmore, they have like what they're using. I don't know. It's although it's very thin, and you can see it's bulging, but the moment I put the color on the paper, I like it. I like it. But it's not for the watercolors. I know it's going to be very wibbly wobbly very soon. It's already starting getting like bulge up effect. So, but the quality of paper is very nice. That's what I'm trying to say. But definitely it's not for watercolors. For the purpose of usage, you can use any paper to create any kind of thing. So it's not that you can't use it for the watercolors. Obviously you can use it, but the conventional way of watercolor paper is it's like you have to have like thick paper, absorbent, the sizing of the paper, all of those technical things. Like I can't do wet on that because it's going to ripple off, tear off very soon if I'm going to put more water. This is the second layer of color over the paper, and you can see it's starting to rip off. It's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Let's see how it's from the other side. Yeah, it's getting bulge. See, it's like very wibbly wobbly. But it's nice. It is nice for the light washes or one layer of wash and wait for it to dry, and then you can put the second layer. Little bit of color study you can do with these watercolors. Definitely, it's not like a mixed media paper, but I always like to test the limits of the paper. So okay, so next thing we are going to try the ball pen, and then I'm going to see if if we can do something with the alcohol marker. So ball pen, I think it's going to be very nice because of the nice tooths of this paper. Let's use green. I think it's not activated yet. Ball pen is the medium which works almost on all kind of paper. Like it's very versatile medium ballpoint, but it needs a little bit of tooth. Like if the paper is very plasticky or very shiny and very smooth, no grains at all, like Oppo paper, Oppo Yopo, I don't remember the correct name of that paper, which is like a very synthetic paper made out of plastic, recycled plastics, and that paper is good for alcohol marker. I'm going to create the next video. Oh, so sorry, I'm not in focus of drawing. So sorry. Okay, so yeah. So in the next video, I'm going to try to show you the process of sketching of with the alcohol marker on that plastic paper, synthetic paper. It created very nice results, like a happy accidents, and you can learn from those. It creates nice forms. To be honest, I don't like this paper for the ballpoint. Yeah, it's not very good. Since the paper is very smooth, the tooths are very stiff. Oh yeah, for sure. See, this is very grainy paper, and then it works very well. Like I don't have to make much effort to sketch on that paper. Yeah. So no for the ballpoint on that paper. It's not good, but it's not behaving well for the ballpoint. Yeah. And for the last, let's try the alcohol marker. Let me just So these are Olo markers. Olo is a very beautiful brand. They produce very nice mechanism of like their mechanism is really nice. Usually what you have in the markers, let me show you. So for example, in those famous Copic markers, you have a reed, and inside those reed you have ink, alcohol ink, and you have those tips. But what Olu invent, they have this ink cartridge inside alcohol and directly connected to the brush tip, and they do a little bit of science inside that to control the flow of ink. Obviously, if you have just ink and just brush tip, it will bleed through, because the alcohol inks are super thin, and it can go through from small caveats very easily. So they have done some work to create those kind of flow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a paper underneath here, because obviously it's going to bleed through. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a nice silhouette. Starting with the skull nowadays is my go-to shape whenever I want to draw something. I don't know why. Previously it was like a face or eyes, or even sometimes just spherical shapes. But if I want to draw some subject, nowadays it's very dark. Okay, let's try. I like it. Obviously it's bleeding through, but it's not surprisingly going to the other page. I don't know why. It's making the impression on the back side, but it's not going through the other side. It's nice. It is nice. I like it. It's showing a little bit of like pulps of paper. Sometimes when the paper is not meant for the alcohol markers, it shows you the grains of the paper. I think it's due to the sizing. I think it's because of the sizing of the paper. I don't know much about the papers. I know a little bit about, and I know the experiment, like the experience of the paper. Like this is, I can say it's due to the sizing, like the binding of the paper, and when it's not meant for the alcohol marker, you can see those grainy effect with the alcohol marker. Okay, so that's it. I hope you like this video. I like this paper for sketching with graphite and ink work. It's very nice because of this bright white color, and it's good for monotonal drawing with color pencils, not meant for the I don't like to use the ballpoint on that paper. And nice for the little sketch of watercolor, one layer, that's fine, but if you go multiple layer, it's going to be bulgy and tear the paper. You can tear the paper. Alcohol markers are not that much good because it's showing you the grains of the paper. I love sketching with graphite. Yeah, these are very nice for the graphite. You can see it's going dark to light very nicely and very easily. So that's it. I hope you like this video. This is our Strathmore graphite paper here and Strathmore Sketch 400 series. I hope you like this. Please share and like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Thank you.